What's going on, everybody? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Well, every once in a while, when we're out at shows, interacting with people, some people do tell us that they have a brown thumb, that they can't keep anything alive. If that's the case for you guys, I highly recommend that you try one of these spider plants that you see right here. It is one of the easiest house plants that you can grow. And talking about fabric pots, as you can see here, this one looks super deformed, almost like it was run over by a truck, but no. One of the best things about a fabric pot, and especially easy swap pots, having a snap on every side. You can unsnap 1, 2, 3, or all 4 sides, and you can form it or shape it to whatever kind of container that you're trying to grow in. In this particular scenario, a family member unsnapped 3 out of the 4 and formed it into a tree stump to fit inside of a tree stump to make it look like this spider plant was growing up out of the tree stump, which looked really cool and unique. And as you can see here, the roots growing out of the bottom, but we will discuss that in a little bit. So let's get right into it. So yes, the roots did grow through the bottom, and that is mainly because they were not exposed to the sun. They were in a tree stump, which obviously is super dark down below there, and I'm sure, it was holding moisture, so that was prime time real estate for those roots to grow. Because I don't know if you guys know, but root pruning, fabric pots are wonderful for root pruning, because usually when the roots hit the outside, they're usually hitting the sun, or they're hitting the air, and that would prune the roots. And then they send out more roots, making a much more vigorous root structure. But in this scenario, like I said, no sun was getting to the bottom, so the roots were growing straight through the bottom. For me, no big deal. This fabric pot is still good. We'll still be able to use it next season. Yes, it will have some pinholes, and we will show you that later in the video. So to transplant this, we just want to pull the sides down, which is kind of a satisfying sound, the ripping. It's almost kind of like when you break bubble wrap. But just be gentle. You don't want to rip it down fast. Just nice and slow, pull it down. And all we're trying to do here is get the root ball free from the fabric pot. So now that we got the root ball free from the fabric pot, all I'm doing here is I'm just snipping out all the brown leaves before we upplant it into a 3-gallon easy swap pot. So one of the benefits to the easy swap pots, as you can see, it opens up into a saucer and it keeps most of your mess contained. I am guilty, I am a male, I am not the cleanest. As you can see, there is some dirt on that table, but it does keep the majority of the mess contained, and then you can just dump that wherever you want it. And you can see here, these are the roots that are left over or stuck to the bottom. I am just by hand going to rip out as much as I can, and I'm actually just going to throw those roots right back into where I'm transplanting it. So as you can see, those roots that I took off by hand, I just threw them on top there, and all we're going to do now is take our root ball, place it in the middle of our 3-gallon easy swap pot, and then we're just going to take some new potting soil and just backfill it in. So the transplant went successful, as you can see. And here I'm just showing you that this thing is putting off a baby. So eventually I'll be able to cut that umbilical cord and have a new one. But that is a video for a different day. So like I said before, I took the majority of the big roots off by hand. And then I just used this brush that you see here, kind of at an angle, not flat because that's way too much contact. But as you can see, it's on the edge there. I'm just scraping it by. That is method number 1. A second method that's a little less abrasive, just use your hand. Just rub it around in circles, and that will take the majority of the roots off. Now if you're wondering how to actually go about cleaning your fabric pot, we do have a couple videos out there of how to clean your fabric pot. We're just showing you here is how to take off those roots. So now that this plant is indoors for the winter, we always recommend some sort of saucer underneath your fabric pot when you're growing indoors. Well guys, proof is in the pudding. Truth be told, I did kind of neglect this, kind of forgot all about this in the sunroom. This is about a week after I videotaped the transplanting portion of this plant. Anyways, when I looked this up, they say you're not supposed to be below 55 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's just say it was in my sunroom at like 40 degrees. Okay, let's be truthful here. 40 degrees at night. So during the day, yes, it did warm up into the 60s. But at night, it dropped into the 40s for 3 nights. And I do have a couple yellow leaves here at the bottom. But on the plus side, I do have another baby that shot up. So I got this baby here. And I got one baby, smaller baby, popping up right here. So proof is in the pudding. These things are very hardy, and you can neglect them, beat them up. I think you'd almost have to try really hard to kill one of these. But as far as these babies go, which will be a video for a different time, because it's too early to show you now. But once these get a little bit bigger, all I'm going to do is take this baby. I'm going to take another fabric pot or plastic pot or whatever kind of pot I want. I'm going to put this down on the soil. Maybe put a little rock or something just to hold it there. It will root itself out. And after it roots itself out, then I can just cut the umbilical cord, and then I got a separate plant. So, easy peasy. I hope you guys learned something today. And like I said, if any of you guys have a brown thumb, I highly recommend a spider plant. Because, like I said, I had it in the sunroom when it got super cold, and it's doing just fine. So, they can handle a little neglect. Until next time. Happy gardening. Peace. So, being open and transparent with you, yes, where the roots grew through the fabric pot, there are going to be pinholes because the roots were growing through there. Now we ripped them out. I tried to show this. I put the fabric pot up to a window, and hopefully you can see all the pinhole lights punching through there. So yes, this will drain a little bit quicker, but this fabric pot was used outside this season, so we'll just use this fabric pot outside next season. No problemos.